The future is square. BlackBerry launches its new smartphone. So what will success look like for the troubled Canadian company? We talked to our technology reporter. Also, a hands-on review of the new Passport. I'm Afan Chaudhry. Welcome to Globe Now. This smartphone is BlackBerry's latest hope. It's called Passport, and it's about the size of a Canadian passport. It's kind of square-shaped, has a 3-row keyboard with a touchscreen option. It comes in the wake of iPhone 6, that other smartphone launch, the one with the record 10 million sales in the first 3 days. So, lots of pressure on BlackBerry, and watching it all is our technology reporter, Omar El-Akkad. We've reached him in Portland, Oregon. Hi, Omar.
Hi, how are you?
Good. So with this new product, what would success look like for BlackBerry?
Well, it certainly won't look like 10 million units. That's how much the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus moved in 3 days. That's definitely not the expectation here. BlackBerry is a much different company now. It's a company that largely isn't trying to compete with iPhone. It's not trying to compete with Samsung's offerings. All they're really trying to do, and the criteria for success here, is to engage the corporate users. So if they can come out in the next few weeks and say, look, these major corporations over here have purchased the new units or have made a commitment to the new BlackBerry, that'll be success for them. It certainly isn't going to be huge numbers.
Omar, let's take a look at a tweet from a reader. It says, interesting square design will set it apart from the rectangles. Question is whether people will buy it. What do you think, Omar?
Well, BlackBerry's had this problem for years, and it's partially due to their early success. They're sort of handcuffed by how successful the BlackBerry design has been. People who love BlackBerries don't want to see it change. They love the keyboard. They love the reliability of the software. They don't want to see something really abstract and sort of veering away from that. So this, in a sense, is about as far as BlackBerry can go. So what you're going to see is a sort of slightly larger screen, slightly more square-shaped design. But really the emphasis here is going to be on giving people who love BlackBerries more of what they love. So the keyboard is going to be ultra reliable. It's going to be really easy to use. But in a sense, BlackBerry is really trying to follow this trend of slightly larger phones, which we're seeing now with the iPhone 6. We saw with a bunch of the Samsung offerings. But they can't go too far. So this is sort of a compromise while trying to appeal to this new generation of users who want to see bigger phones.
Now, it seems the big question is if the Passport falls flat, what does that spell for BlackBerry's future as a smartphone company?
So here's the interesting thing, and BlackBerry will never put it this way, but the stakes are a little bit lower than most people might expect. For years now, BlackBerry has been sort of losing market share in the smartphone market. They've been losing it to Apple, they've been losing it to Samsung, and almost everybody else. In a sense, this launch isn't so much about selling more smartphones than those other companies, or even turning that trend around in a big way. It's basically about showing that BlackBerry can pull off a product launch without any major disasters, deliver a product on time, and maybe have that product be a little bit popular, but certainly not anything like the iPhone 6 or anything like that. The really important thing for BlackBerry now is not the hardware. It's the software, it's the services, it's the stuff that they can sell to enterprises, because that's what the company's going to be about. So in a sense, the stakes are a little bit low here. If they can just pull this off without any major disasters, they're going to be in a good place.
Okay, Omar, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, we want to hear from you. What do you think the Passport will mean for BlackBerry's future? Tweet us at Globe Now. So, staying with BlackBerry, time to get familiar with the Passport. And the Globe's technology editor, Shane Dingman, does that with this review of the new smartphone.
We're in Bay Street, the heart of Toronto's financial district, and we've brought the BlackBerry Passport down here because this is where the people who it's designed for work. If BlackBerry has any hope of a comeback, these kind of people need to use this device. The BlackBerry Passport is a device for prosumers. It's got some features hardcore BlackBerry fans should like, and other stuff that they may not. Out on the street, an avid user spotted it and rushed over to gush about it to us. This is who BlackBerry's after, but it also hopes it can win over some Android users and other early adopter types. It's supposed to replace a tablet and a phone by performing the key features of both items in one big package. Not that it's too big, it will fit in most standard pockets. Size does matter though. Typing with one hand requires either giant spider fingers or more dexterity than I have. Even two-handed though, I'm not a big fan of the position of the keyboard. It's way down at the bottom, and it makes me do this sort of weird Tyrannosaurus Rex clutch as I try to type. The keyboard does have a nice feature though, it's touch capacitive, so you can do some of the functions you might typically do by touching the screen, like scrolling, without leaving fingerprints. Screen orientation is also a bit strange to me. It's square, which is great for reading text, even in full sunlight, editing, and other types of productivity apps, but it's not so great for consuming video, which doesn't fit wonderfully on that screen. Speaking of video, you could finally watch Netflix on a BlackBerry, thanks to the ability to buy apps from Amazon's App Store. Battery life is pretty solid. I found you could go a few days between charges on moderate use, but there's no removable power cell on this model. The latest version of BB10 OS doesn't radically evolve the control system over earlier versions. It remains centered on being a messaging hub with quick access to apps. If you're a physical keyboard fanatic and you don't want to pay top dollar for BlackBerry's Porsche-designed powerhouse, the Passport could be just the ticket.
That's all for today's show. If you've got a moment, hop onto Twitter. Is the Passport your kind of smartphone? And would you buy it? Tweet us at Globe Now. I'm Afan Chaudhry. Thanks for watching.